Hello, and welcome to the Audacity Factor. I'm your host, Kathryn, also the founder of our Patreon community, and I encourage you to take a visit. You can join for free, and I will put a link. There's actually a QR code right here above my head, and y'all know what to do with the QR code. So I have been videoing like crazy because I had some technical difficulties. There were severe echoing through 5 videos and I'm having to do them all over again. So I'm just going to have a crash conversation here with y'all about the disco ball because that's really what the last conversation I kind of distilled into. You know, there's so many times in our lives where we think we have to sacrifice pieces of who we are for the greater good. That's what we believe. And that's kind of what we're taught from a very early age is to choose. We learn that when we say throw ourselves on the floor when we're little, that's not acceptable behavior according to our parents. Then we're having a really emotional response because we don't know we're supposed to try to control our emotions. And that's just something we're taught. Whether that's actually true and healthy, I'm not exactly sure. I know that the process of continuously denying your emotions, shoving them down, creates all kinds of havoc physically, emotionally, psychologically for us, and creates a vibe around us as well that kind of, everything we do has a ripple effect, whether we recognize it, admit it or not. It does. Because unless we are in a bubble alone, never around another person ever, we affect others and others affect us. So in our desire to do that, to be connected, to have relationships, because we're people, we're humans, and everything is relational, all of it. If you take a hard look at every area of your life, does not it not involve others? And does it not affect how you feel, what you think, what you believe, and then your behaviors as well? Well, one of those things that we can do for ourselves, against ourselves actually, is to what I call turning the pieces of you around into not you. It's the whole, what I consider the disco ball. When we're born, we are just all this faceted mirror shooting. Yeah, we're shooting rainbows and love and everything at everybody else everywhere. It's like the disco ball. And we learn that that's not always safe to do. So we end up starting to turn pieces of who we are around into pieces of who we are not, because we think somebody else needs us to do that for them to make their life better, easier. And we oftentimes, as a recovering, for me, codependent, enabler, people pleaser, I know intimately what that is like. That, okay, well, I can just change this one little thing about, you know what I mean? And you end up literally twisting yourself, not even into a pretzel, but into this just messy, tangled knot, because you don't know what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say, all the things. So you erode the trust with yourself as you continue to turn around these pieces. And we all know what the other piece of side of the mirror looks like. It looks like this matte gray stuff that's right behind me in the background. I hadn't really thought about that until just now. But anyway, but that's true, is it not? And if you imagine yourself as that disco ball, how much of your disco ball is turned around into these gray pieces? And how much of it are you actually allowing to mirror out and shoot your innate light out? Because, once you turn those pieces around, it's shooting it all inside. So it's trapped. This is why we can then feel like we're going to explode if we don't express ourselves. And for me, it was the fire breathing dragon effect completely, because I was in such pain. I needed some kind of release. You can hearken it to a volcano, a fire hose, whatever that is for you. For me, it was the fire breathing dragon, and it never felt the release felt good, but I never felt good about actually doing it. It didn't help me in a way other than hose somebody else that was the target of my pain which for me was an abusive relationship that I was in. So, and the longer I was in that pattern, that cycle of, one more time choosing something else to turn back or to turn around to try to ease the pain, make the relationship work, which if you find you're trying to make something work, you need to drop it. You cannot make something work. You can try new ways. You can attempt to collaborate, because that's really the answer to a relationship, is a true and honest, safe collaboration, open to possibilities, open to new ways of thinking, open to new ideas, and not thinking that you have to control, manipulate, or yours is the only way, or the other person's is the only way, and that you're going to be punished if you don't, go along with them. So, so back to the disco ball. So when you're choosing against yourself, you erode the trust in yourself. And I know if you've been subject to any kind of gaslighting, manipulation, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, physical trauma, any of them, you know what I'm talking about. And for me, having been subject to many of those, I knew that there was a point where I no longer trusted myself. I couldn't make a decision because I didn't trust myself to make the right one, because I had eroded my self-trust so far, over a decade. Actually, it was even longer than that. And, to be able to start turning those pieces back around and start rebuilding my self-trust, I have a video. I did a video interview with my friend Gwendolyn, and you can scroll down the list of my videos here on YouTube. And I recommend that you actually watch that if you are wanting some practical guidance around rebuilding your self-trust. Because, once we do that, it's eroded so far, we're the only ones that can save ourselves. If we continue the same patterns, which even once I left that relationship, I continued that pattern just with a new set of characters. It was not a romantic relationship. However, it was with somebody that was a friend. And so it was really like a kick in the teeth, really telling me, okay, you have to do this now. You have got to start choosing yourself and stop undermining yourself. Stop turning those pieces around, because your disco ball's almost completely gray now. So in allowing ourselves that space to choose, we can recover ourselves. And that's your responsibility to do. You can see a therapist, you can have a coach, and I recommend that you do both of those things. But it starts with you being willing, even just being willing to be willing to interrupt the old pattern, interrupt the old cycle, stop that cycle, no matter who it's with, because it will repeat itself until you learn the lesson. And how many times do you actually want to do that? And it takes us practicing choosing what we know is right for us. And that can start very simply as well. Simple everyday things like a good cup of coffee in a mug that is backwards. Came from my printer backwards. So if you'd like a backwards mug, you let me know. Anyway, so yeah, it's up to you to rebuild your trust in yourself and to recover your disco ball. It's up to you to save yourself. Escaping the pain is one piece of it, but it's up to you to keep yourself from repeating the pattern that creates the pain. It's up to you to empower yourself, not disempower yourself. It's up to you to support what is good for you, not undermine yourself with what's bad for you. It's up to you to breathe life into the life that you want. It's up to you to breathe life into that disco ball, not into what you don't want, not into the gray faceted kind of mass that's just kind of lurking around, keeping you disempowered, keeping you in a place where you don't trust yourself. So I encourage you, rebuild the trust with yourself, watch the video, and let me know in the comments All right, this was number 26, I think, 25 of my 90 for 90. I'm a little bit behind. And I will see you all in the next video.